2nd of May, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
Good morning, Phil. Oh, we were in the middle of trying to figure something out, I remember. What were we doing over here?
We were doing, there is a yes that's like a no and a no like.
Oh, we were in this Rashi. Okay, so we're in the Rashis on 693a, Tzadi Gimel Lamed Aleph. And Rashi, Dibur Maskil Petza'ani, which literally means go and wound me. So it sounds like the Rashi says, Hikani Pitza'uni, V'yomer le zeh Almanas Liftor. V'omer nechbal hein. Yesh hein shehu kalav. So let's, this is the one that we were doing yesterday, I believe? Or was it not this one? Doing the one,
It's this one.
okay, so let's read this one over again. Just to get back into it. And, okay, so who would like to read this Hikani Pitzani?
I think Phil.
Everybody see?
I'm feeling pretty hoarse. I don't want to talk to you.
Okay, right. Everybody see where we are? It's Rashi, Dibur Maskil, Hikani Pitzani. It's
Yeah.
It's about 12 lines, narrow lines down from the top of Rashi, where the narrow lines begin. Okay, so, yeah. Phil, would you like to start?
The Hikani Pitzani, which we had before, that's the Hikani Pitzani is he's telling him to hit me. Hit me or strike me. Either word. Two things. What the difference thing in striking is, I don't know. It says twice. La'amalei, and he says this. Almanas on condition that I should be. Strike me on the condition that that you were gonna make me putter from any whatchamacallit, pay for any damages. The Omar Nechabel and the victim says, hey, yes. And now here's what Rashi says, Yesh Hain Shehu Kalav. There is a time you say yes, that you really mean no. Tama, if he would be says it in a Itma is like it beat me. It's like a wonderment. He's saying it in a special way. He really would be chayiv, and it's not like he's going to be pater. So the key in this, and I was thinking about it, is it's really. You're saying yes, but you're really saying yes. Yeah, you're not agreeing yes. You're saying it in such a way that you say you're kidding me. I'm not going to really do this. So it really means no. You're saying yes, but you're really meaning a no from it. And he would be chayav. He wouldn't be pater. And then b'nichusa hadre pater. So this is, but if he does say it in a regular, in a normal type of way, in a good way, I don't know, hadre pata, he will be considered pata. That yes said in a normal tone would count as making him pata. It depends how you say the yes. You say yes, then it's pata because it's like you're agreeing. You say, yeah, then I'm really kidding you around and I don't want to be pata. So it's how you say it. What's this word, a hadre? Right. Goes back on?
A hadre, he's responding to the question of so
his answer. It's a chazar. It's a response. So right. if he responds in a normal way, then he really will be pata. In the brisa, right. the brisa that's above, the katani that taught, Hikani v'patzani, hit me or strike me, almanas with Torah on the condition that I will be pata. He is pata. He will be pata. Kida ama lechabel, like the victim would say, kulom, all these words. Hikani v'patzani. He's saying hit me and strike me. He's saying it. Almanas. That's what the guy's saying. Hit me or strike me on the condition be pata.
Oh, okay.
Adai. Now, surely, Dafka Amale, he's really saying, the victim's saying this. So the victim's saying it, that I'm going to be pata because you said it, mister, you told me to do it.
Okay, good. Very good. So now that we see it a second time, it's clear to me what's the two things that Rashi's saying over here. The first part of this Rashi, it's a run on Rashi. Rashi is going on the Dibra Maskil. He says Hikani B'tzani. Now those are the words that are being said by the Nechbal, by the would-be victim, the Nechbal. How do I know that? Because Rashi continues right on from those words, and he says V'amar le'zeh. And then this one responds with the following question: Amanas liftor, and you want me to do that to you, Almanas, to be potter on the damages for that? The Amar Nechbal, and then the Nechbal responds to that question, and he says, Hein. Okay, so this is Rashi's describing here a case where there was first a statement by the Nechbal, and he said, Hikani Pitza'ani, hit me, wound me, and then, but that's all he said initially. And then and then the other person, the would-be assailant, says, Amanas liftar. And will I be exempt if I do that to you? And then the Amar Nechbok Hein. And then the would-be victim says yes. Or now it's going to depend how it is that he says this Hein over here. That's what Rashi interjects. It says, Yesh Hein Shehu Kalav. There is a Hein which is really going to be judged as a lav. It's going to be judged as a lav. A yes, which is going to be judged by the Bezdin as a response of no. When is that? Atama chayet. If we can fathom by the way that the Nechbal said what he said, that he was saying yes in a manner of wonderment, so then chayet. Then the assailant, if he goes ahead and does this injury, so then he's going to be liable for it. The Ibn Nichusa, but if the Nechbal responds when he says Hein in a way of Nichusa, which I guess means a it's supporting the tone that he's saying is supportive of the word that he is saying. It's consistent. So then, if he's a hadre, if he responds in that way, potter, then the assailant will actually be potter. In that case, he'll be potter in that case. And then Rashi goes on to discuss the brisa though. Well, brisa de le'eo, but the brisa that we saw above, diktani hikani patsani amanas liftar potter, the brisa said that the guy's going to be potter. Bida omar nechbal kula milsa. That's talking about a case where the victim said the entire statement himself. He said, hikani, hit me, ubatsani, and wound me, almanats liftar, on the condition that you will be exempt if you do so. Because in that case, says Rashi, that he said all of those words himself, vadai dafka amarle, certainly he means what he says. Dafka means he is precise and in what he's saying. He means what he says. Okay. Good. Any questions? Okay, so we could go on to what are we up to now?
I'm turning the page.
Well, we didn't do the next Rashi, Yesh Lav Shehu Khan, which is the counterpart to the one we just did.
Yesh lav shehu kehem. There is a lav which is like a haim.
Okay, continue with that, or you want us to do it, Lou?
No, I'm hoarse today. I'd rather not.
Okay, fine, I'll go. Okay, it's sort of the same. Okay, here the concept is, how can you have a no when he says no to really mean a yes? And here it is, itma, if he says it in a surprising type of way. You know, I bet the best way to transcribe this surprising type of way. It's like, it's like how do you say it? Like a rhetorical question. Like you're saying it sort of like that. Then he would be putter. So he's saying no, but he really means that he'll be putter. And that it was chosen chiyuve, that he'd be liable maka regarding being hit or struck upatora, and he would be pata lagabi in relation to Lamona, according to his property values. Orche demilsa, that's the way we speak in words. Nakat, that it's chosen. That's the way people generally speak. The Bechil Inish, people do forgive Tafe Megufa. They will be more forgiving in terms of their property rather than their physical bodies. In that case, you can be muchal on your properties, but you think you feel slightly different when it comes to whatchamacallit, getting smacked around. Okay.
Okay, so that's this is the statement of Rabbi Yochanan that Rashi's explaining over here.
So Rabbi, this word itmar, that means sarcastic?
Itma is like, I'm just using it. Itma really means like it's a bit me. You say it in a surprising way. It's how you say it. The tama is like, it's how you answer. You're answering questionably, so to speak.
Yesh lav shehu kehem. There is a no that will be judged as a yes, said Rabbi Yochanan. Rashi says, "Itama patur." What's not clear to me is what actually happened. Who said what to who? Rashi's borrowing from what we said above, I believe, in his explanation over here. He's not really telling us too much. He's expecting us to figure out from what he's already said. In other words, in the last case, right, Rabbi Yochanan, he said two things. Rabbi Yochanan has said two things over here that we're analyzing. Rabbi Yochanan first said, Yesh Hain Shuhu Kalav. That we understood. There is such a thing as the victim saying yes, but really we're going to judge it as the victim is saying no. And we applied that to the case where if the victim says, hit me, wound me, and the guy says to him, oh, is this almanas that I will be exempt if I do so? And he says to him, hey, yeah, sure. Yeah, of course you won't have to pay a penny. No, nothing. So we understand that in the way that the victim said, he said in a way of astonishment. He was astonished at the comment of the assailant that the assailant thought that he could just go ahead and not be exempt if you do that. So now we come to the other case, though. There is a situation where the he'll say lav and it means hey. He'll say no and it means yes. What is the case? Rashi just says over here, itama, if he says it in a way of wonderment or astonishment, he'll be patur. Does Rashi what I don't know what happened over here. It's not because here it sounds like we're saying that the victim, this is my problem. It sounds like we're saying the victim said no, and he means yes. That's what the words are. There's a no, which is a yes. So is that something that the victim said? And if so, what was the question that the assailant asked him? Oh, it's like this. Wow, I don't. Very good. It's like this. We're talking over here in a case. We're not talking about a case of physical damage. That's why Rashi's going to say in the end of his comments to this Dibra Maskil, he's going to talk about causing damage to property as opposed to causing bodily damage. And so we're talking about a case where where one person says, "Oh, go right ahead and tear my suit in half," right? Go right ahead. And the person asks, he says, "Oh, and if I do that, am I going to be exempt? If I do that to your suit, if I tear your suit in half?" And he says, "Oh no, oh, you won't be exempt. Oh, certainly I'm gonna haul you down to the Beis Din and you'll have to pay." So he says it in a way of astonishment. He says it in a way of astonishment. So that's the no. That's the no, which is really a yes. So that'll be a case of a no, which is a yes. And that's what Rashi means to say. If he says this, now I understand the Rashi. What did the person say? He obviously said no, because that's what Rabbi Yochanan is saying. Yesh lav, there is a response of lav, where the person says no, you'll be chayev. Yeah, you'll be chayev. Shehu kehen. And really, we judge it as though that the person is saying that yes, in fact, you will be exempt. And that's what Rashi explains. Itama, if the owner of the suit says it in a way of tamiyah, in a way of astonishment, as though to say he's astonished by the question. Of course, why would I ask you to go tear this suit in half for me, other than the fact that this is what I want to have done, and I'm asking you to do it. And yes, of course you're going to be exempt. And so when the guy says, "Oh, I'm going to be exempt for that," he's saying back in a way of astonishment. He says, "No, of course you're not going to be exempt for this. Oh yes, I'm going to go and take you into Beis Din if you do that." And he really means to be in a way of astonishment. So that's the case that Rashi is explaining, that Rabbi Yochanan said that the din is that even though the person said lav, no, you're not going to be exempt, shehu kehen, that in fact we're going to judge the case that he is going to be exempt. He's going to be exempt. That's why Rashi says itama potter. Okay. And then Rashi goes on to say, now 1 second, if we're paying attention over here, we have got to be having the following question over here in this, what Rabbi Yochanan is saying. Do you mean to say, Rabbi Yochanan, that whenever, the classic case of saying no, which is going to be interpreted as a yes, is that always in a case of monetary damage? But in the case of bodily damage, it's the other way around, that the guy is going to say yes, and it really means a no? In other words, when Rabbi Yochanan said two things, if there's a case where the guy says no, and we're going to judge it as yes, you're going to be liable. And there's a case where the guy says yes, and really we're going to judge it as no, you're not going to be liable. Now, is these two cases, are they exclusive to this one is exclusive in a case of monetary, and this is exclusive in a case of bodily, or no? It's just orcha de milsa. So that's what Rashi says over here. It's orcha de milsa. See the rest of the Rashi. Haida nokat chiyuva lagabe maka upotseya maka upotseya. This that we're saying according to Rabbi Yochanan, we're saying that the assailant is going to be chayav in regard to a case of maka and potseya, where the assailant made a hit or a wound and caused damage to the body of the victim. Upatura legabe mamona, whereas the case of exemption, where we say there's a case where the victim says yes, and really we're going to judge it as, or he says no, you're going to be putter, no, you're going to be liable, and we say no, we judge it as that really he means yes, you're going to be, in fact, you're going to be putter, and Rashi explained that that's talking about a case of lagabe mamona, in regard to tearing the guy's shirt. I don't know why Rashi didn't say this over here. That's what was confusing me. Rashi didn't say initially in this Dibra Maskil, and we're talking about that the guy said, go tear my shirt. But in any case, it's clear from the end of Rashi over here, that's what Rashi means. Nevertheless, it's not dafka like that. Orcha de milsanakat. What does it mean, orcha de milsanakat? That's generally the situation that we find. We find a situation where we're going to judge in a case of bodily injury that the guy, when he said what he said, he doesn't really mean it, and they're going to be chayiv. And in a case of monetary, the ripping of the suit, that when the guy didn't mean what he said, you're going to be exempt. That's the yes, which is a no. Or the other way around. That's a no, which is a yes. Yes, you are going to be putter. Rashi just says, Orkan Milsanaka. That's just, that's generally the situation that we find. The Mochil Inish Amamoine Tfe Migufe, because it is the nature of a person that he will forgive a loss to his money more readily than he will a loss to or an injury or to his body. But really, according to what Rashi is saying over here, it's going to come out that it could be the other way around too. It could be. It all depends. It all depends on how the person says what he says. That's it. According to Rabbi Yochanan. That's how Rashi is understanding Rabbi Yochanan. In other words, if the person says in a case of bodily injury, right? He says it all depends on how he says it. But we said it in the way that we said it. In other words, we chose to say the case of there's a yes which is a no, and a no which is a yes, that this talked about money and this talked about bodily injury, just because that's the way people are generally more likely to forgive a damage to their property than they are to forgive damage to their personal to their person, to their goof. But there's no difference in the din. It all depends on how the person says it. We don't make any presumptions. That's what's coming out according to Rabbi Yochanan. Good?
Good.
Okay, we got any time left? Yeah, we have some time. Okay. So, Tanya Nami Hochi. Back in the Gemora. Tanya Nami Hochi.
The very bottom of 93A2.
Roy, want to start reading?
Okay, Tanya Namichachi. This has also been taught in a Baraita. Achini. Bataini, if one says to his fellow, strike me or wound me, Al Mina Liftor. And the other person asks, can I do so on condition that there'll be no liability? Mama lo hain. And he replied to him, yes, sarcastically. Yes. Hare yesh hain shahu kalu. That is a case of a yes. That is like a no.
Right. He said, oh, yes, of course you're going to be exempt.
Hare,
Sure. I'm a sucker, aren't I? Sure, right.
Kare is kasosi. If, however, he says to his fellow, tear my garment, Almene lift shore, and the other person asked, can I do so on condition there'll be no liability? And he replied to him, no, sarcastically. Hare lev shahu kahan. That is a case of a no, that is like a yes.
Right. Okay, so in other words, what's the Gemora doing over here in bringing this brisa? Gemora says, Tanya nami hochi. We've got a brisa. We also have a brisa that says like this. The Gemora is not simply saying, oh, you know what? We got a brisa that says like this too. The point of the Gemora is to say that, look here, Reb Yochanan, he's an Amora. That's very nice that that's what he says. But do we have any more authoritative authority for this idea that Reb Yochanan is telling us? And the Gemara says, yes. In fact, we have a brisa. A brisa is a Tanaic source. We don't know who the Tana is that says the brisa, but one thing we know, once it says Tanya, we're talking about brisa, and that means we're talking about a Tanaic source, and that means that we have a more authoritative source than an Amora for this idea, and therefore the Gemara sees fit to bring the brisa that also says like Rabbi Yochanan. It's a support, in other words, it's a support to Rabbi Yochanan. There is a Tanaic opinion which says exactly what Rabbi Yochanan said.
It also seems like it's a clarification, because I think that with Rav Yochanan, we weren't sure about bodily injury versus property injury. But in this brisa, it makes it very clear.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, right. Good. Okay, so it looks like we have, oh yeah, we don't have any more Rashi. Okay, we already did that Rashi. Yesh lav shehu kehen. Okay, that was a real one. So now we have the brisa, and that will, good. Oh, okay, so now we go on in the Gemara. Go on in the Gemara. Shavar eskadi kara esksusi chayev. This is what it says in the Mishnah. The Mishnah that we had way back on, where was this Mishnah? We had a Mishnah on the Tzadi Amid base. A long Mishnah. It's looking for where it says this in the Mishnah. Shavar eskadi kara esksusi chayev. Where's okay, that's kind of interesting. I don't see it right now. Okay, at any rate, let's see what the Gemora has to say about this din of the Mishnah. So in other words, shavar es kadi, break my my vessel, kara es ksusi, tear my garment, chayav. So even though the owner of the article told another person to do this, but if the person does it, he's going to be chayav. So now we want to know, the Gemara wants to know a few things about this case. Ramini, and we go to Alan.
Okay. Or Mini A asks, but contrast this with the following brisa, which states that one is exempt if authorized to tear someone else's garment. Torah says regarding custodians, the man shall give money or vessels to his fellow to safeguard, Rishmor below there, to safeguard but not to lose. The laws of custodianship apply only if the owner gives the article to the custodian to safeguard it, but not to lose it, or Rishmor below to safeguard it, but not to tear it. However, if the owner does give the article to the custodian for the purpose of losing it or tearing it, custodian is not custodian at all, and none of the responsibilities of the custodian shall apply to him. He is thus exempt if he does lose or tear the article. Lishmal below the lake, but furthermore, the owner must give the article to him to safeguard, but not to distribute it to the poor. In any case, we say that if the owner of an article gives to someone to tear, that person is exempt if he tears it. Why then does our Mishnah say if someone tells his fellow, tear my garment, fellow is liable if he does so? The more answers, the more Rabbi Huna said, low kasha, there was no difference, no difficulty. Both the Mishnah and the Brisa was speaking of where the owner of a garment gave to someone the instructions both to safeguard it and to tear it. However, this Mishnah speaks of where the garment came to the custodian's hand before the owner authorized it. In that case, the custodian is liable for tearing it. Or below or sue, and this Brisa speaks of where the garment that comes to his hand before he was authorized to tear it, i.e., received it for safekeeping if he was told to tear it. In that case, he is not liable if he is not even considered custodian.
Okay. Okay, we have a Rashi over here. Lishmor below la'abed.
Like watch it and don't lose it. Key tank is difficult and so the Gemora continues. Lishmor to guard it. Lahafkido to deposit it etzlo against him. Lishmor to guard it. He'd be chayiv. He would be chayiv. B'shia, if there was negligence involved. Below kishavkido etzlo, but not if it's deposited with him, almanas la'aved, on condition that he will lose it, or almas l'chalek l'anayim, or that he will give it to distribute it to the poor. Delo karim bay lishmor, because that's not considered watching it, safeguarding it. The cave-in sins, the omole, because he said to him, chalaknu, chalak is your portion.
Cool. To distribute it, I guess.
To distribute it around, to divide it up. Divide, that's the better word for it. Divide two. Furthermore, low, lahamafki, but not really to watch it. Uman kitava the inayim, and the one who claims about the poor people, lo matzah, cannot claim l'chol chad v'chad. You can't claim it about everybody. Matzeh Omar, you find to say, la ladidi, not for you, Yehiva, I didn't give it to you, ela rather la acharina, rather to others.
Seems to be, I don't have all the words worked out, but Rashi seems to be pointing out that the name, they would not have a taina over here because to each one of them, the distributor could say, "Oh, I didn't intend to distribute it to you. I intended to distribute it to another poor person." Okay, we'll have to take a look at this Rashi again. We're in the middle over here. So everybody have a good day today. Chodesh Tov, B'ezras Hashem.
Be well. See you, Mr.
Chodesh Tovos, B'ezras Hashem tomorrow.
We're actually finishing up this chapter, this parak.
Yeah, very exciting.
Okay.
All the best.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good day.